Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So with 2 days left in the NHL regular season, before I give out my awards ballots, because I'm going to fully wait until every single team has played 82 games in order to do that, I thought that I would go ahead and give my all-NHL teams. I don't think, barring the results of these final games, they're going to drastically change, so I feel confident in giving them now. When at the end of every single season, the NHL does two all-star teams. I never understand why it's called an all-star team when they have an all-star game, but basically, they give a first team and second team all-NHL. They do it based on left wing, center, right wing, then two defensemen and goalie. The defensemen don't have to be left side defenseman, right side defenseman. It's just two defensemen, but they do left wing, center, right wing. I'm abandoning that, and I'm going to give you three forwards, two defensemen, one goalie per team. I'm going to do a first, a second, and a third team, as well as a rookie team. They do the rookie team, as well as an all defensive team. We're going to be doing defensive team. I think they probably should do that in the NHL. I think it'd be a really cool twist. So without further ado, let's get into it. Up first, we're going to start with the all-defensive team. Shouldn't really take that long. When looking at it, I have Alexander Barkov, Sam Reinhart, and Seth Jarvis as my forwards. Austin Matthews arguably could have made this. When looking at this, I also have Miro Heiskanen and Drew Doughty as defensemen. I decided to go with the guys that play pretty big minutes, play a lot, instead of maybe like an underlying, like, for example, Seth Jarvis. I think Jordan Staal has better underlying defensive numbers than a Seth Jarvis, but one plays like 13, 14 minutes in game versus like 17, 18. So I wanted to choose some guys that play some really tough minutes as well as putting up fantastic results. Barkov and Reinhart are just so fantastic together both ways of the ice, but especially defensively. And some people might say that Sam Reinhart's only so good defensively because of Barkov. That's not really the case. Over the last 3 years, they haven't really played like solely together, and they've both posted fantastic defensive results. Miro Heiskanen, amazing defensively this year. We know that. Another great season for him. And Drew Doughty really found his game, especially on an LA team that was locked down defensively. Drew Doughty was a major reason why he led the entire NHL in ice time this season. So I think he's a pretty valid inclusion for this all defensive team. Moving on, we're going over to the all rookie team. Another one that I don't think should be too controversial. Connor Bedard obviously is going to be my Calder pick. Faber, no doubt, a second runner up for the Calder Trophy this year. Kachetkov's been great. I think he definitely surpassed Sam Ersson. Luke Hughes, the points are a little bit misleading. He had like 47 or 48 points. He wasn't that good of an offensive defenseman this year. He just kind of got thrust into that role with Dougie Hamilton going down. But still, when looking at the next guy, Pavel Mintyukov maybe could have challenged him, but after he missed like 15 games, I think you got to give it to Luke Hughes. Marco Rossi, great, hovering around like the 20-20 mark, posting solid underlying numbers, both offensively and defensively. And then Logan Cooley really came on at the end of the season. Right now, he has 20 goals, 24 assists for 44 points, has one game left in the season. He's been fantastic, especially in the back half of the year. This is my all-rookie team. Will my Calder ballot, I don't know what it's going to exactly look like past number one and number two, but that's it right now. Next up, we got the first team all-NHL. I'm going to start with first and then work our way down. I'm not going to tease you guys along. Looking at this, I do have Austin Matthews over Connor McDavid. That's going to be controversial. I think Matthews, even if he doesn't hit the 70 goal mark, I still think that elite of a goal scoring season is more impressive than Connor McDavid's season, because although he hit that 100-point mark, less guys have hit that 100-point mark. The fact that McDavid only has 32 goals this season is pretty stark. It does matter, especially considering Austin Matthews has got his assist numbers up, especially of late. He actually only has 25 less points, far more percentage of those being primary points, far more percentage of his being even strength points. Connor McDavid, not a power play merchant, but I do give Matthews the nod. Obviously, McDavid's a better player, but this season, I do think Austin Matthews over Connor McDavid. Then McKinnon, Kucherov, kind of goes without saying. They're probably going to be 1 and 2 in my heart ballot. I got to dive into it fully. Don't have a direct choice right now. Roman Josi, 31 points in his final 23 games. He was probably going to be on my Norris ballot before that, but after that, I think he really did rise in a lot of people's books. The Nashville Predators have been one of the best teams in the entire NHL down the stretch because of him and because of Roman Josi, another guy we might be talking about later. And Quinn Hughes, I'm not really shocking anybody, spoiling anybody when I say that he's going to be my Norris winner this season. 91 points, 17 goals, very good underlying numbers both ways, and probably the MVP of the Vancouver Canucks this season. Connor Hellebuck, The guy that I have on second team, spoiler alert, Thatcher Demko, maybe could have contended with Connor Hellebuck in terms of the Vezina Trophy, but the fact that Demko went down at the end of the season for like 13, 14 games, it's obviously Connor Hellebuck, 921 save percentage, I believe, in around 60 games. That is your Vezina winner. That is your first team all goalie. Second team, I think that these forwards are pretty consensus. These would be the next three. Panarin and Pasta are a step back from that top four, but still having fantastic seasons in their own right, as well as McDavid. Makar, some people are probably going to say he should be on second for first team. His underlying numbers are not that good. He has not been as dominant. We saw yesterday in yesterday's video, his numbers with McKinnon versus without are like staggering this season. He is still the best defenseman in hockey, but you watch him this year, he's been battling through some injuries. He's just not producing at the same, offensively he's producing at the same level, but defensively, especially the Colorado Avalanche on the whole, in part, because of Cale Makar has not been stepping up. Defensively have not been as good this season. So I think he's still a fantastic defenseman. He still is the best defenseman, but I think people are drawing to that name value that he's no doubt second in the Norris discussion this year. Not really sure that's the case. I personally have Cale Makar lower than others. Evan Bouchard, you can make an argument that Ekholm does raise his game, but when looking at him this year, going to finish with around, I think, what's he at right now? Let me pull it up. 81 points, 18 goals, 63 assists. He is having an absolutely breakout year. The underlying numbers are fantastic, and the fact that he has played every single game for the Edmonton Oilers definitely factors in. Is he the top four defenseman on a per-game basis? I'm not so sure. And then Thatcher Demko, clear Vezina runner-up right now. And then jumping over to that third team, speaking of Evan Bouchard, I think Heiskanen and Fox have been better on a per-game basis than Evan Bouchard, but Evan Bouchard hasn't missed a game. Miro Heiskanen missed, I think, 10 or 11 games this season. Great defensively, as we pointed out before. Adam Fox, also great offensively, great defensively, did miss 10 games. So I think when looking at it, missing, what is that roughly, 12% of the season versus Bouchard, who's been there night in and night out, I would give the nod to Evan Bouchard, even though those two guys have been fantastic in their own right. I think those two guys have been better than Cale Makar on a per-game basis when you factor in their defensive play. So the forwards might be a little bit controversial. I have Philip Forsberg, 48 goals and 46 assists, leading his line. Yes, he does play with Roman Josi, but he has transformed Gustav Nyquist at like 33 years old into like a 74-point player. Ryan O'Reilly is a good player, but he wouldn't be putting up the offensive numbers that he was without Philip Forsberg. Philip Forsberg and Roman Josi, they're not going to get any Hart votes, but they have been so goddamn valuable to their team. The main reasons why they shocked everybody this year and probably finished 10, 15 points ahead of where most people had him. I think you need to give the love to Philip Forsberg based on how good he has been. Sidney Crosby, I don't think that he's an actual Hart contender, but yes, down the stretch, he was fantastic for the Pittsburgh Penguins. 42 goals, 50 assists in 92 games. Although there's guys like Leon Draisaitl, like a JT Miller that have put up more impressive stats. I do think when you factor in the teams that they're on versus Sidney Crosby, who didn't really have a ton of talent, especially once Jake Gensel got traded, I do think Crosby's season is more impressive than, say, those guys. And lastly, Sam Reinhart. Obviously, I have him on the all-defensive team, and the fact that he scored 57 goddamn goals, I think you do need to respect him. Is he he still might actually just be like the third best. He is the third best player on Florida. I still think Tkachuk and Barkov are better players than Sam Reinhart, but this season, Sam Reinhart was fantastic. He didn't drive offense to the level of Barkov and Tkachuk, but when looking at him, he finished basically everything. 57 goals, second most in the entire NHL, while playing very good defense. Is he ever going to sniff a third team all NHL? No, he's probably going to score like 38 goals next season and come back down to earth, but you do need to respect the season that he's having. I almost had Kirill Kaprizov on this. Back half of the season, he was absolutely insane, but I did opt for like a Forsberg or a Reinhart or a Crosby over them. Other guys you potentially could mention, Sebastian Aho was great. Mikko Rantanen was great, but again, playing with Nathan McKinnon, who was playing out of his mind. JT Miller, William Nylander, those are all valuable guys. I went for these guys on third team. And then lastly, Bobrovsky, very good season. Going to play, I think he played 58 games with very solid numbers overall. I think he is third, but third is wide open. I honestly could change on my awards ballot who I have third for the Vezina. Fourth and fifth is going to be an absolute battle. But here are the teams. All defensive. Rookie. First team, Matthews over McDavid and Josi ahead of Makar. Second team. Third team. Let me know in the comments What do you think about this? I'll probably have my awards ballots. I'm not sure exactly when I'm gonna do it because we only have one day in between the goddamn regular season ending in the playoffs. I'll probably have it Friday. I'll get it out by Friday. But let me know in the comments, who would you have on that third team forward slots? Do you think I had it correct, or would you opt for the guys that maybe had better production but were on better teams playing with other superstar players? Or do you like the way that I chose these lists? And what other kind of maybe potential first team, second team would you like to see under 23, over 30? Let me know in the comments what do you think, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.